The highlands of western Mexico are quiet in the early light. Pine forests stretch across dark volcanic ground, broken only by scattered stone and uneven earth. From the surface, this landscape feels ordinary, even empty. And yet, beneath the trees and soil lies a question that changes how ancient cities are understood. How did a vast, carefully organized urban center exist here for centuries, remain hidden in plain sight, and leave almost no visible trace of its scale? Angamuco does not reveal itself through towering monuments or exposed ruins. For generations, it appeared as little more than forest and stone. Only when the land was viewed from above did its true form begin to emerge. Thousands of stone structures appeared across the terrain, arranged in deliberate patterns. What once seemed like natural scatter resolved into dense neighborhoods, platforms, and connected spaces. A city had been there all along, concealed by time and vegetation. Angamuco sits on volcanic ground shaped by ancient lava flows. The stone here is dark, uneven, and difficult to move. The climate is cooler than the lowlands, with seasonal rains and thick forest growth. On its own, the environment does not suggest an obvious place for dense urban life. And yet, the city adapted to these conditions rather than overcoming them. Stone structures follow the contours of the land, fitting into the terrain instead of flattening it. From an aerial view, the scale is unmistakable. Residential clusters repeat again and again, spreading far beyond a single center. The density rivals some of the largest ancient cities in the Americas. But unlike them, Angamuco lacks a dominant focal monument. There is no single structure meant to command attention. Its complexity comes from repetition and organization rather than display. What makes Angamuco especially puzzling is how long it remained unnoticed. Thousands of structures blended into the landscape, their order masked by forest growth. This raises a deeper mystery. How did a city of this size function so quietly, and why did it fade into the land without leaving clearer signs of its presence? As the forest stands still above these buried forms, Angamuco invites a closer look, not just at what was built here, but at how a city could exist almost entirely out of sight. Angamuco's form begins to make sense when its relationship with the land is considered. The city is spread across uneven volcanic terrain, where solidified lava created natural ridges, shallow basins, and irregular surfaces. Instead of forcing the ground into uniform grids, Angamuco followed these contours closely. Stone platforms rise where the land already lifts. Open spaces settle naturally into lower areas. The city appears shaped by careful observation rather than domination of the terrain. The use of volcanic stone defines everything here. Dark, heavy, and abundant, it was gathered locally and stacked without mortar into walls, terraces, and foundations. These structures repeat across the landscape in consistent forms, suggesting shared methods and long-term coordination. Stone was not reserved for a single center or monument. It was used everywhere, giving the city a dense and uniform character that extends far beyond any one focal point. From above, Angamuco does not resolve into a single urban core. Instead, it unfolds as a network of connected neighborhoods. Residential clusters are closely packed, separated by narrow passages and small open areas. These repeated units create a city that feels continuous rather than centralized. Movement through Angamuco would have been guided by familiarity, with paths shaped by daily use rather than formal avenues. This layout suggests a place built for sustained occupation. The density of structures points to a large population living in close proximity, supported by systems that allow daily life to function smoothly. Storage spaces, platforms, and enclosed areas appear alongside dwellings, hinting at routines organized around shared resources and repeated activities. The city's complexity lies not in singular achievements, but in the accumulation of many small, coordinated actions over time. What makes Angamuco unusual is how little of this organization is visible from the ground. Forest growth softened edges, stone collapsed inward, paths disappeared. Without an elevated perspective, the city's order dissolves into scattered remnants. This raises an important question. If Angamuco functioned as a dense, organized urban center, how was its structure maintained without relying on towering markers or centralized monuments? As the patterns repeat across the volcanic landscape, Angamuco begins to feel less like a hidden anomaly and more like a deliberate experiment in urban life. one that prioritized continuity, adaptation, and quiet complexity over display. As Angamuco developed over time, its organization became more intricate rather than more imposing. The city did not concentrate its energy into a single monumental center. Instead, it repeated similar architectural units across the landscape, creating a rhythm of stone that feels consistent and deliberate. Platforms, terraces, and enclosed spaces appear again and again, suggesting a shared understanding of how the city should function rather than a command imposed from one location. The arrangement of structures hints at careful coordination. Neighborhoods are dense, but not chaotic. Stone walls define spaces clearly, guiding movement and separating areas without isolating them. Open courtyards appear frequently, offering light, airflow, and shared space within tightly packed zones. These patterns suggest a city designed to balance closeness with openness, allowing large numbers of people to live near one another without losing order. What is notably absent are signs of sharp division. There are no obvious elite compounds set apart by scale or position. No single area dominates the rest. Instead, Angamuco presents a city of repetition rather than hierarchy. Authority, if present, left little physical trace. The stone speaks of coordination, not control. This makes Angamuco archaeologically challenging. Cities of similar density often leave behind clear indicators of centralized power or ritual focus. Here, the clues are subtle. The city appears to have functioned through shared participation, with maintenance and construction distributed across many hands rather than concentrated in one place. Material evidence reinforces this impression. Volcanic stone is durable, but structures still require upkeep. Walls must be repaired, paths must be cleared. For Angamuco to endure, people had to return repeatedly to maintain the same spaces. This suggests long-term stability rooted in routine rather than spectacle. Yet over time, small changes become visible. Some areas show signs of reduced use, others appear modified or abandoned. These shifts are uneven, scattered across the city, rather than focused in one location. They do not signal sudden disruption, but gradual change. As these quiet alterations accumulate, the central mystery deepens. If Angamuco thrived through repetition, coordination, and adaptation, what happened when those patterns began to break down? The end of Angamuco did not arrive through sudden destruction or visible collapse. It unfolded slowly, through subtle withdrawal and quiet change. Some stone structures were no longer repaired. Paths narrowed as vegetation reclaimed them. Areas that once showed repeated use began to thin, their edges softening into the surrounding terrain. The city did not fall apart at once. It gradually loosened, its activity spreading outward and then fading. Environmental pressures may have played a role. Life on volcanic highlands depends on careful balance. Shifts in rainfall patterns, soil productivity, or access to nearby resources could have strained the systems that supported dense occupation. Even small, long-term changes would have had cumulative effects in a city so closely adapted to its surroundings. As conditions shifted, maintaining the same level of coordination may have become increasingly difficult. Social change offers another possibility, though it leaves few physical traces. A city built on repetition and shared maintenance depends on continued participation. If priorities changed or if groups gradually moved elsewhere, the system would not collapse dramatically. It would thin, walls would go unrepaired, courtyards would fall silent. The city would not be destroyed, it would be left behind. What makes Angamuco remarkable is how completely it blended back into the landscape. With no towering monuments to mark its presence, the city dissolved into forest and stone. Over time, its structures became indistinguishable from natural formations. What remained was not absence, but concealment, a city preserved by being forgotten. Today, Angamuco exists in two states at once. On the ground, it feels quiet and fragmented. From above, its full scale becomes clear, revealing a city defined by order rather than display. And with that perspective, the original question returns. How did a city of such density and organization function so quietly, and why did it fade without leaving clearer traces? Angamuco does not provide a single answer. Instead, it suggests that urban life once followed paths now difficult to see, shaped by adaptation, repetition, and deep integration with place. The city feels neither ruined nor lost. It feels paused, its story held within the land itself. If exploring places like this deepens your sense of the past, you're welcome to stay with us. And what do you think ultimately allowed a city like Angamuco to remain hidden for so long?